Chairman, you have 8 freeholders present.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, please lead us in the prayer and the salute to the flag.
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and the lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will, and to grant the light of his spirit on all who work for justice and peace. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, please read the statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Chair wishes to announce that pursuant to requirements of New Jersey statutes annotated, Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 10 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union has been given by mailing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014, along with periodic changes necessitated by circumstances, to the newspapers circulating within the County of Union who are designated to receive such notice, and by posting the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014 in the Administration Building, and further by filing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014 with the Office of the County Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We have two communications. May I have a motion to approve?
Seconded.
Motion was made by Freeholder Kowalski, and it was seconded by the Vice Chairman. Mr. Clerk, please read the roll call.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella. Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 8 votes in the affirmative.
We have minutes to approve. We have the agenda-setting meeting on July 10th, 2014, and the regular meeting that was held on July 17th, 2014. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Motion was made by Freeholder Carter, and it was seconded by Freeholder Wright. Mr. Clerk, please read the roll call.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes to July 10th and abstain from July 17th.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes, with an abstention on July 17th.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes, well.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes on July 17th and abstain on July 10th.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Abstain on July 10th, yes to the other.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye to all.
Chairman, you have 6 votes in the affirmative with 2 abstentions for both the minutes of the Thursday, July 10th, 2014 agenda setting meeting and the Thursday, July 17th, 2014 regular meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We have an ordinance for introduction. Mr. Clerk, would you kindly read the ordinance by title? And it's a long one.
Ordinance number 760-2014. Bond ordinance to amend the following bond ordinances previously adopted by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union, State of New Jersey. 1. Bond ordinance number 377-1993, adopted on June 17, 1993, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 440-1997, adopted on March 6, 1997, and bond ordinance number 486-1998, adopted on December 10, 1998. 2. Bond ordinance number 455-1997, adopted on October 16, 1997. 3. Bond ordinance number 480-1998, adopted on July 23, 1998, as previously amended by the following 3 ordinances. Bond ordinance number 574-2003, adopted on April 24, 2003. Bond ordinance number 630-2006, adopted on July 20, 2006. And bond ordinance number 674-2008, adopted on December 4, 2008. 4. Bond ordinance number 518-2000, adopted on December 14, 2000. 5. Bond ordinance number 536-2001, adopted on August 28, 2001, as previously amended by the following 6 ordinances. Bond ordinance number 543-2001, adopted on December 13, 2001. Bond ordinance number 547-2002, adopted on February 28, 2002. Bond ordinance number 556-2002, adopted on September 5, 2002. Bond ordinance number 564-2003, adopted on February 13, 2003. Bond ordinance number 575-2003, adopted on April 24, 2003. And bond ordinance number 719-2011, adopted on March 31, 2011. 6. Bond ordinance number 555-2002, adopted on August 22, 2002. 7. Bond ordinance number 578-2003, adopted on August 21, 2003, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 708-2010, adopted on June 10, 2010. 8. Bond ordinance number 601-2004, adopted on August 19, 2004, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 708-2010, adopted on June 10, 2010, and bond ordinance number 730-2012, adopted on March 22, 2012. 9. Bond ordinance number 616-2005, adopted on August 18, 2005, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 708-2010, adopted on June 10, 2010, and bond ordinance number 730-2012, adopted on March 22, 2012. 10. Bond ordinance number 632-2006, adopted on August 17, 2006, as previously amended by the following 3 ordinances. Bond ordinance number 673-2008, adopted on December 4, 2008. Bond ordinance number 708-2010, adopted on June 10, 2010. And bond ordinance number 730-2012, adopted on March 22, 2012. 11. Bond ordinance number 653-2007, adopted on September 6, 2007, as previously amended by the following 3 ordinances. Bond ordinance number 708-2010, adopted on June 10, 2010. Bond ordinance number 714-2010, adopted on December 8, 2010. And bond ordinance number 730-2012, adopted on March 22, 2012. 12. Bond ordinance number 665-2008, adopted on March 13, 2008. 13. Bond ordinance number 670-2008, adopted on July 24, 2008. 14. Bond ordinance number 671-2008, adopted on October 9, 2008, as previously amended by the following 3 ordinances. Bond ordinance number 714-2010, adopted on December 8, 2010. Bond ordinance number 730-2012, adopted on March 22, 2012. And bond ordinance number 741-2012, adopted on September 13, 2012. 15. Bond ordinance number 687-2009, adopted on July 30, 2009, as previously amended by the following 4 ordinances. Bond ordinance number 699-2010, adopted on February 11, 2010. Bond ordinance number 703-2010, adopted on May 13, 2010. Bond ordinance number 714-2010, adopted on December 8, 2010. And bond ordinance number 741-2012, adopted on September 13, 2012. 16. Bond ordinance number 713-2010, adopted on December 8, 2010. 17. Bond ordinance number 723-2011, adopted on August 25, 2011, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 741-2012, adopted on September 13th, 2012. 18, bond ordinance number 740-2012, adopted on September 13th, 2012. And finally, 19, bond ordinance number 752-2013, adopted on August 22nd, 2013.
Everyone got that? All right. Prior to asking the vice chairman to move the ordinance, I'd like to ask our county manager to make a brief statement.
Maybe we can make that a little more concise, Mr. Chairman.
Please do so.
Okay, I'll try. Repurposing Bond Ordinance 2014-760 amends previously adopted bond ordinances to expand the description to accommodate projects and/or acquisitions that were not considered at the time of adoption of the original bond ordinance. There is no additional debt that is being authorized as a result of adopting this ordinance, should it be adopted, and the ordinance does not obligate the county to spend any additional dollars. It also gives the county ability to cancel unspent capital balances if that should occur, subject to future resolutions. Thank you.
Concise, I like it. Vice Chairman.
Yes, I'll move ordinance number 760-2014 for first reading and authorize the clerk of the board to advertise same in accordance with the law.
May I have a second?
Second.
I'm going to call that for Freeholder Kowalski. The motion was made by the vice chairman, seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. Mr. Clerk, please read the roll call.
Freeholder Carter,
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada,
Yes.
Freeholder Granados,
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski,
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella,
Aye.
Freeholder Wright,
yes,
Vice Chairman Jallo,
Aye.
and Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 8 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. At this point, the meeting is open for the purposes of commenting on resolutions being offered for adoption only. Kindly state your name and town of residence for the record and the resolution to which you are referring, and adhere to the 5-minute time limit.
Good evening, freeholders. Pat Moschetti, New Providence. I just have a few. First one is Resolution 760 concerning shared service agreement between the county, Rahway, and the Rahway Board of Ed to share cost of upgrading athletic fields in Rahway Park. Is the county going into this with a certain top dollar value not to exceed? If not, why not? And what is going to be the percent allocation of the total cost between the county, the city of Rahway, and the Board of Education of Rahway? 761, getting $270,000, providing community program for low-income residents for Union County. Can someone explain some examples of what that programming is and what the benefit is that for? I appreciate it. Resolution 763. So this is unexpended 2013 area plan contract funds at $107,000. We want to carry over to this year. If someone can explain what area plan contract is, why the funds weren't used in 2013, and why is it necessary to use them this year? Resolution 784 and 785 are involved with Reynolds Specialized Hospital. They're just words here. Can someone explain what the two of them mean in layman's terms going forward? In 786, we're giving the county manager the ability to sign documents regarding a collective bargaining agreement, Parks Maintenance Association. My question is, why are we 2 years and 9 months behind finalizing this agreement? Is it an example of not being able to get to the table together? Is it bad blood between the two groups? 2 years, 9 months is an awful long time to go through things of this nature. and there's only 45 to 50 people, so there must have been some bumps in the road that the residents of Union County would probably like to know. Maybe you can learn from this for the future contract negotiations. Thank you.
I'm going to start with, why don't we start with the rollway resolution? I'm going to ask Director Zuber to come up, but I'm also, I know we have Mayor Steinman, and kind of like in a reunion show, we have the new VA in Rollway, we have Sharon Roundtree here. So, Director, if you want to speak to the resolution a little bit, and then Mayor, if you wanted to get up and say a few words, it might be an appropriate time to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, the County of Union already has budgeted $2.6 million for this project. That's our obligation to this project. When the engineering portion comes in, Rawway will have a clearer picture of what they're going to budget for. And that would be a good time for, I think, the mayor to add anything he'd like to say, if I may.
I think you're correct.
Good evening, Freeholder, Chairman, Freeholders, County Manager Fayella, Samson Steinman, Mayor of the City of Rawway, and I'll talk about Resolution 760. Obviously, everybody is aware that the City of Rawway floods on a regular basis. One of the areas that is hit hard is the Veterans Field. It's our football stadium. It's our baseball facility. Besides that, it's also an area that the band utilizes and the cheerleaders. It floods to the extent that the goalposts, if they're still up, are completely covered in water. When this happens, we have to go out and search for other facilities for our student athletes and our band members and cheerleaders to put on their events and performances. When we heard that the county was looking to refurbish the field at the Rawway River Park, we quickly contacted the Rawway Board of Education and then contacted the county manager's office. The county planned to turf, light, and refurbish the track there, and the city will pick up the costs to do everything else, to put in stands, press box, concession stands, restroom facilities, scoreboard, loudspeaker system, and so forth and so on. I believe this is a novel approach. I don't know if there's any other facility like this in Union County where the costs are being shared, and it's creating a facility of this size that will benefit students of Rawway, citizens of Rawway, but also residents throughout Union County. I've already been in contact with the director of the Union County Interscholastic Athletic Association that runs all the county tournaments at the high school level. And they are already talking about moving a bunch of the county-wide sporting events, the semifinals and finals of girls field hockey, boys and girls soccer, track, and so forth and so on. And I greatly appreciate your consideration on this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Builders, anything to add? So we'll move on then. Director Guzzo, do you want to speak to 761 and 763?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. 761 is the community service block grant dollars. Those are dollars that the county receives to provide services for low-income individuals and families throughout Union County. Services can be anywhere from rental assistance to food, trying to find permanent housing, just an array of services for people to help them, to support them every day. The other resolution, area plan, that is a plan that's put together as a result of funding that we received, approximately $3,807,000 to the Division on Aging, and as a result of that, we have to put a plan together in terms of how those dollars are going to be spent. This resolution looks at agencies that were awarded contracts and for various reasons did not spend the full amount. It allows us to take those dollars and allocate them to other agencies that hit the expenditure levels to allow more services to be provided. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Director Guzzo. County Council, just correct me if I'm wrong, but 784, 785 regarding the rentals, we're literally dotting i's and crossing t's on that one?
Well, actually, what they are, it's the date issues that we discussed in executive session last week, or 2 weeks ago. It is changing the closing date from October 1st to October 31st. It changes the date by which center management must obtain their licenses from, I believe it is September 1st to October 2nd. And it also has clarified the lots and blocks that were identified. There was a misidentification of one lot and block, which will be replaced with another lot and block.
So just upgrading or updating the existing agreements effectively to
On those
bring them in
two,
line
yes.
into where the negotiation has gone to this
Yes,
point.
and it's on those two items only.
Right, thank you, County Council. 786, Norm Albert?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know that I can address the concerns other than that the bargaining unit took a variety of votes on this agreement. They rejected it. They've now accepted it. It was the first negotiation I attended in my current position, and they voted to reject it. We didn't meet again, but they changed their mind and voted to accept it. So that's part of the delay. Any delay before that preceded my being in this position, but it's not atypical that a contract be settled during the term such as this in collective bargaining. It happens, in my experience, in labor negotiations in general over the years, and it occurs certainly with the 22 unions we negotiate with as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak on resolutions being offered for adoption?
Good evening, Freeholder Chair Hudak, ladies and gentlemen, Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson. Garwood, on page 3, number 760, that's the one with the field repairs of Rawway City Park. I do understand that that's like about a $6 million project. This I brought up to whatever that coalition is over at UCC, that there's an opportunity here, and I'm telling you now, there's an opportunity here for even larger shared services. Union County College, and Freeholder Kowalski knows this, that is looking for a place to set up their sports activities, and they have a couple of $1 million to spend. This park is actually 2 miles closer than the Oak Ridge Park over in Clark. This would be a great opportunity to combine all the monies, Rawway monies, the county monies, the UCC monies, and create a good complex that everybody could share and even the residents could take part of. So that would be a win-win-win-win situation. So not just Rawway, but include Union County College. I suggest Freeholder Kowalski take that to the college, since she seems to be the liaison. Page 4, on the bottom, 771. You're giving $20,000 to Union County Performing Arts Center. I've brought this up before, but back in the Music Fest days, it was discovered that Union County Performing Arts Center was actually squirreling away $100,000 of the taxpayers' money unknown to anybody, and fortunately the prosecutor found it. Nobody was held accountable for that. Possibly Samson Steinman might have been the head of the UC PAC, or he might have been temporary, but I suggest you really seriously think about just keep giving money. One of you guys said, oh, well, they have good programs. Yeah, that's great. But meanwhile, some major black eye happened and nobody was held accountable for it. I suggest you take a look and do something about that, because it's now been a couple of years. Page 5, number 774 and number 775, these are these large, big ticket items that Freeholder Chair Hudak was talking about. Netta and Mast came up. Both of them are actually getting at least doubling their contracts. And this I find very strange, that this is actually not even involving the Union County, new Union County courthouse, yet you have it combined. I don't know why you are just amending the contracts. You should be splitting it out and do it in RFP. It's huge amounts of money. Netta is at $3,694,000. And I guess my question here is, for the new county courthouse, he was getting like $2.8 million, as I recall. It was like $1.8 million, and then the freeholders gave an extra $1 million. Is that $2.8 million over and above the $3.694 million? As to Mast, I don't know if Mast is still here, but it was a nice platitude saying, well, the scope increased. I would really like to know what that meant by the scope increase, since their contract is doubling. Page 6, number 786 at the bottom. This is the one with Norm Albert talking about the collective bargaining agreement. He said that there was health changes in that. I would like to know from Director Albert exactly what these health changes are. What is the health benefits that this contract bargaining unit is now getting? So explain also the details as to what the final signing is about. And I guess if there's a raise, is this money that raise is actually retroactive back to the January 2012 date? That's all. Thank you very much.
Regarding 760, thank you for your suggestions on that. Why don't we address the courthouse resolutions? And I don't know if we want Deputy County Manager, or do you want to have the County Engineer speak for that? We also have Director Graciano here as well. I don't know, I couldn't tell if you were walking up or not.
He's fixing the AC, Mr. Chairman.
That's important too. Continue.
Mr. Chairman, if you want, I could address the question about the Netta and the courthouse, the new courthouse. And the answer is no, that is not part of the same contract.
Could you speak in the
I'm sorry, the new courthouse, that is not part of this contract at all.
Correct. This
Okay.
This is completely to do with the renovation of
The rotunda and the tower, and has nothing to do with
Correct.
the new.
And so my understanding of these resolutions are, it is involving the change of scope from the original project of the exterior, the renovation with the exterior stairwell to the current change of moving to the new family courthouse, eliminating the 6 courthouses, and doing an interior stairwell so that the building remains in compliance and we can keep the tower open.
That's correct. That is correct.
And which was not part of the original scope when this project was first envisioned between 2000 and 2006, when the fines started to when the original contracts were issued, correct?
The staircase was an exterior.
Correct.
So yes, and then it was now it's an interior.
The project is
so it is a
completely
different.
different
Yes,
from what it was.
that's correct.
originally. Thus,
The
changing
new
the
scope,
scope of the work.
right, and the 2 resolutions I see before you.
Okay. Good enough.
Thank you.
Director Albert, would you mind coming up and just, I believe those health changes that you spoke of, those are consistent with all the collective bargaining agreements?
They are, deals with increased deductibles for out-of-network services and changes in deductibles for prescription benefits, same as in all the other collective bargaining agreements we've settled. And to the question about the retroactivity, there are retroactive raises for 2013, 14, and 15. 1.54% in 2013, 1.83% in 2014, and 1.9% in 2015.
And that is consistent with other collective bargaining agreements that we have entered into?
It is, Chairman.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak on resolutions being offered for adoption?
Tina Renner Cranford, 774 and 775 regarding the courthouse. So I'm a little confused that the year 2000 is being thrown around, but these are amending resolutions first introduced in 2009 and 2010. My direct question would be for 774. Does this include the first set of plans for the outside stairwell? Is that what this is amending? And also the rotunda? So we spent almost $2 million on plans for those two things, and now we're going to spend another $1,768,000 on a new set of plans. It's one question. What exactly does it include? And to follow that up, at what point, how much was spent, and someone here should know this, how much was spent when you decided that those plans were cost prohibitive, that wasn't going to go? And was that just the NETA, or was MAST also included in that? So how much was spent by architects, engineers, all involved before you decided that that first set of plans to put the stairwell on the outside wasn't going to work? Because I can't imagine that's like, you come up with a set of plans and then you don't have to implement them. That's pretty sweet. I mean, it sounds like an easy job to me. And did you get any sort of discount for that since those plans weren't used? So if someone can answer those questions. And I'd also like to know, the state took over the courts, I believe, in 1995. Why are we responsible for building a new courthouse? If the state took over the courthouses in 1995, why are we responsible for building a new courthouse? Why is the county responsible for maintaining these major constructions on the old courthouse? Have you thought of approaching the state, suing the state, trying to recoup some of these monies? I would like an explanation on that. Why exactly are we taking on this whole entire responsibility, and where is it written that you have to go to such extremes to replace 6 courtrooms? It seems very extreme. I've seen you sue people for much less than this. I guess that will do it. So again, when did you decide that this was cost prohibitive? How much was spent? Who was involved? And then you decided that this one plan was cost prohibitive, so you have to come up with another plan. And were other architects considered? Was NETA just given this job? How many stairwells and courthouses has he built? Was anyone else consulted? Especially since the first set of plans didn't work out. Thank you.
We're going to get to the project. We can go blow by blow on that. Though I would say I agree with you that the fact that the county is responsible for that courthouse is an unfunded mandate, and it is wrong. In terms of that responsibility, County Council, can you speak to that?
Certainly. In 1995, with the state takeover, the state did not take over the courthouses. They took over the salaries of certain court personnel. The counties, all of the counties, are still obligated to provide the courts with accommodations and facilities that existed as of 1995. By way of example, if there were 27 courtrooms in 1995, we are obligated to provide the court with 27 courtrooms equal to the amount that existed at that point in time. Because of this construction and the impact that construction now with an internal stairwell will have, and the interference it would have had with the operation of the courts, we will be losing 6 courtrooms. So since we are obligated to provide the state with those 6 courtrooms that are now going to be lost, there was a determination to build the new courthouse. So we are obligated to provide that.
And that is wrong, but it is a fact. Director Reyes, and would you mind bringing up the county engineer with you as well? Because they might be helpful in kind of going through the overview of the project.
Correct. If through you, Chairman, I'll ask Nick Netta to address part of the question, and then the second part of it, which is the financial, I'll ask the engineer to do so.
Great, thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Regarding the question that was asked, regarding the date of 2000, 2000 was brought up because that was the original date that DCA came in and fined the county, not fined, but assessed the deficiencies in a letter to the county. The second date was 2005 that the state came in and essentially gave the ultimatum to the county, which is when we were brought in to do egress analysis to see how we can resolve the issues to meet the state's requirement for the building. Regarding the exterior stair tower, in terms of the design was fully completed, essentially 99%. At that point, the design was estimated by the county's construction manager based on OSHA requirements. There was an OSHA specialist brought in, J.W. Ruffalo, who assessed the property and what it would take to construct the exterior stair tower. The costs were coming in above and beyond what the original estimates had deemed, so you were in the neighborhood of plus or minus $50 million to construct an exterior stair tower. At that point, it was decided to scrap that portion of the project and then to get the stair inside, which is a much cheaper option. We would have to replace the existing courtrooms that would be destroyed by moving the stair to the interior of the building. However, there may be some misunderstanding what's actually happening with the building. The building was cited, not only the tower, but the entire building was code deficient. So the entire building was either going to be forced to make the code modifications or be shut down. So you would be, in essence, losing all 25 courtrooms. Where you are presently with the construction costs for the interior stairwell and with the new court building, the county is saving approximately $2 to $3 million with both projects as opposed to the exterior stair tower. I'm not sure if I remember the other portions of the questions, but the new scope modification is going to be to take what was the exterior stair tower, which was a completely different design, and take that and move that to the interior of the building, and then thus modifying the existing structure on the interior and structural modifications, piping modifications, modifications to the floors. That's what this scope modification entails. With the court building, the court building was not part of this project. The court building was RFP'd, and I believe we were the lowest responsive architect to that RFP.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Tom?
And also, the original contract for the exterior stair was RFP too. So in other words, came in to start it off an RFP. What he spent to date, his firm has spent to date, is $1.7 million. One of the concerns, and we all have that, is with the fully developed plans that we scrapped in essence because it was cost prohibitive. And a major change though, and a major thing that was mentioned before, is that the previous assignment judge would not permit us to lose any courtrooms in that building. And we complied with that request or demand. So in designing the exterior, we couldn't wait or negotiate too much because we still had the hammer of the fire code violation. So NETA proceeded and completed a full set of drawings and was ready to send that. We were ready to send that out to bid when the assignment judge changed, and we were able to build both the courtroom the building up the street and a much, much cheaper modification of the existing building. We'll lose 6 courts, but they'll be made up the street, and the combined cost of both of those projects is about the same, a little less even, but about the same as just doing that stairwell and saving the old building. And I think that decision was made by the freeholders, and I think that's a good decision. Of the $1.7 million spent, about $315,000 of that went to documentation of conditions in the old annex and other parts of the overall building. That money was not wasted. It was used, and in fact, we did phase one of that project for $2.5 million, and that's done. That's a part of the thing. And the information, part of the existing conditions supported that effort. Also, what we did is, when the change came, we reallocated some of the funds to allow for Netta to do a conceptual plan of the interior stair with the initial 1.7. So we have some conceptual plans included in that 1.7. His new budget is a full design of the interior stairs, the construction administration, and because of the presence of asbestos, and it's an old building, so there's asbestos in it, including the plaster. And so his bill also, or his proposal also includes asbestos control during the construction, because we want to keep that under the control of the architect, because of the complications of the needs of the sheriff, the courts, et cetera. We just felt that would be good to keep under the control of the architect during construction. So I guess that's where we are. We spent the money actually lost in a set of plans, if you want to call it that, is about $1 million, and that's not good, but I think the overall project we're going to get now is good. And the reason we decided to do a contract amendment instead of going out and doing an RFP is just, there's no drawings of that building that exist, no structural drawings, no good. There's some outside, pictures of the building or kind of drawings, but not real engineering drawings. And that has been involved since the beginning of this project, and to bring on someone new would just not make a lot of sense, because there's a lot of intricacies and a lot of dead ends, tunnels, and not really that. But there's a lot of stuff that's in that building that's being there for the last 4 years, 5 years, whatever. His staff and he have a great knowledge of what's in there, and we just felt it would be appropriate to award it. And his fee versus the estimated potential cost of the building are well within industry standards. So we just made the recommendation not to do an RFP, but to continue on with Netta. And I guess that's the that's a summation of what we did with Netta.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Resolutions being offered for adoption.
Okay, John Burry, Kenilworth. Just following up on two things. The 774 and 775 was just confusing. You're building a new courthouse, so there'll probably be courtrooms in the new courthouse, and you're losing 6 in the old courthouse, so you probably have a whole lot more than 27. How many are there? After everything gets running. And then what I was curious about is the plus or minus 50 million just doesn't make any sense to me. So there was 1.7 million spent on plans, and when the plans came out, it was something that would be cost 50 million to build. The bottom line, is that what it is? And how do we know if you still have to go through the process? That is, of bidding out and all that. And as far as a timeline, when did you realize that outside wouldn't work? And was there money spent after that happened? Around what time, when did you say exterior's not working? Was it recently or before or even while this was being spent? That's basically it. I just want to get a sense of how many courthouses there will be, maybe even the timing, like when is the new courthouse going to be built and when is construction going to start on this, just general stuff. The other part was on the 784 and 785, the Runnels things. Yeah, I appreciate that it's just like routine, but I think the county council, and there's two questions on that. First, it said that center management had to obtain its license, and they needed till October 2nd, if I, heard that right. What license is this, and is there any, are they going to get it? Is there any question that they're going to get it, whatever this license is? And I noticed there was no Runnels person on the agenda hearing. Is it now the county manager who's now, there is no Runnels person anymore? County doesn't have any Runnels people, it's now the manager? Yeah, just those two things.
County Council?
Reference to Reynolds Hospital. I'm sorry, I don't recall. What's the question? It was a change of dates and change of lot and block. Oh, the license. I'm sorry, the license. Yeah, we're talking, what I meant was reference to Reynolds transfer. It's not actually a transfer. The county would be, in effect, surrendering the certificate of need for the 300 beds on the nursing home side. Center management has to apply for them. There were some delays because there was a delay in the final negotiations and completion of the contract. Because of those delays, they were delayed in making the application. It's before the state. As part of the negotiations, a time frame was reset for them to submit the application. They met that time frame, but we do not believe, from discussions with the state of New Jersey, there was no way that they were going to meet the September 1st date, and that's because of the state's determination and obtaining that determination. We fully expect to have a determination from the state on whether or not they would approve center management to receive the certificate of need by October 2nd.
Thank you, County Council. County Manager, did you want to speak just in terms of the space, utilization of the space in the court tower?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. With regard to the space at the court tower, yes, there will be additional space available. Our hope is that we can utilize that space for additional office space should we need it, and also perhaps to cancel some leases that we have relative to some other buildings and potentially save some dollars. With regard to the question about who's running Reynolds Hospital at the moment, Michael Fleming, who's here, is the acting administrator. He did not have any resolutions to present tonight, but Mr. Fleming is the administrator for Reynolds Hospital.
And I just want to be clear that even though we are building the family courthouse to replace those courtrooms, if we built just the family courthouse and did not do the renovations to the tower because the building is still under violation, the citations or advisement for the violations, we would have to close up the tower and the rotunda, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing no one else, I'm going to close that portion of the meeting, and I will ask for a motion to approve resolutions 2014-759, 2014-794.
So moved. Second.
Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabella. It was seconded by Freeholder Estrada. Mr. Clerk, kindly read the roll call.
Freeholder Carter?
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada?
Yes.
Freeholder Granados?
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski?
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella?
Aye.
Freeholder Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo?
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye. And I just wanted to note, thank the Mayor of Rawley for joining us here this evening. It's a good project, one we were going forward with, regardless of Rawley's participation, and I'm happy that we're going to have the opportunity to work with them, partner them, and I know a number of members of this board visited Rawley right after Irene and saw the flooding devastation to that particular field that they use right now. It's not usable by the youth of that community, and since we're building the field anyway, it's a great opportunity for the town to partner with us and build a facility that their youth can use, as well as folks from all over Union County. At this point, I'm going to open up the meeting for the purposes of commenting on any matter. Kindly state your name, town of residence for the record, and adhere to the 5-minute time limit.
Pat Moschetti, New Providence. I just have, I guess, three things. I think at a recent Freeholder meeting, there was I guess, a property bought in Scotch Plains next to one of our parks, and the decision was made to buy that with use of bond money, which means debt. And I just would, there was some discussion from the people in attendance that was probably a poor way of doing it. And I agree, if it's considered open space, and we have open space money that the county taxpayers put in every single year, and this is a good example of open space, why don't you just buy it and don't get the county in further debt? Because as we know, we roll the ball down the hill, and the debt gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then we have a calamity in our economic system, and then we struggle to meet these bond requirements, and we can't do normal operational things. So if you have the money in hand every year from open space, as an open space activity, spend it that way. Don't increase your debt. It's a bad thing to keep having debt. Second thing is, we had the presentation on the Union County Golf Course Management Contract. It's a 5-year contract. It's a long time. I hope, I more than hope, I would hope that the contract has a clause in it from the county's perspective that if we get substandard management activity from, which appears to be Kemper, that we can cut it short, that we don't have to live with these folks for 5 years. That after a certain period of time, if it's deemed that they're not doing a good job, that we can cut off. That would be a smart thing to do, because 5 years is an awful long time. Otherwise, you'd have to settle with them offside for a tremendous amount of money to do it that way instead of having legal fees. And the third thing is, I commend a few of you who were part of the SNAP challenge of $4.20 a day to buy food and eat. I was wondering if you took that to heart with your today's pre-food meeting at your Freeholder food and beverage. If you take $4.20 divided by 3 meals, that would have been $1.40 times the 10 of you. So about $15 you would have had to spend for today's refreshments and food. If you did that, terrific. If you didn't, maybe you want to consider that for the rest of September. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to comment?
Chairman, if I may, the requisite golf contract will contain such a clause as was suggested.
You know, just while you're on the mic there, I just want to be clear in regard to the property that was referenced in Scotch Plains. Now, the particular issue with that property is there is an easement that would require the county to invest extensively into a bridge, I believe?
Yes, and that maintenance was required because of the easement.
Right, so we would be, if someone were, a third party were to buy it, we would be on the hook for repairs to that particular easement in perpetuity.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Any other members of the public wishing to comment?
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce, Patterson, Garwood. Just talking about that house, because I did talk about it the last meeting. And I would like the chair to call up Director Durbin of the Open Space Trust Fund and even Director Taylor, the finance, and to come up to explain why, with $9 million every year coming into the Open Space Trust Fund, you don't just buy the house out of the open space, as Mr. Moschetti said. That, I understand exactly the situation it is. I've seen that house. That part of the Savells Park, that property is contiguous. The park was built with open space trust funds. You want to expand the park, open space trust fund. So I would like Vicki Durbin to come up here and explain why we're not doing it. She's the one. She's the one that should be explaining, not you. I didn't even hear a real explanation, except that we'd be on the hook of a third party. Well, we're not a third party. We're the county. In addition, actually, I mean, listening to the explanations of the NETA and the MAST, huge dollar figures, I'm in construction, and, I actually do understand how this all unfolded. It's unfortunate. Sometimes boondoggles happen that actually are acceptable. I don't like a boondoggle, but just listening to it, how it unfolded, it actually does make sense to me. The costs, I'm looking at the cost. Director Minio and even Nick Netta mentioned that, it's either rough same dollar amount for that one concept versus the new building. And I'm just looking at the costs, and roughly, yeah, the old way was around $50 million. I guess if Netta's cost was thrown in there, that was about $2 million. So that's about $52 million. The new concepts that we're going with the new courthouse over on Cherry, that's a $45 million cost. All this Netta architectural cost is like around $6 million. Another $2 million for mast for the stairwell. And then buying that Cherry property, I think that was about $3 million. So you add up those numbers, they actually come out to about $56 million, where we're looking at $53 million. So yeah, the numbers are close. It's unfortunate that this thing really snowballed into a mess. I actually do understand it, and I'll give you like credit for trying to straighten it out. It was a bad concept to start with, and I know you didn't have the property nearby at that point, so that's the direction you were going. But yeah, the golf management. I was here for the presentation, and I looked at the numbers, and I listened to Director Sullivan, and somehow Integrity, because they wanted to get into New Jersey, was lowballing a lot of numbers, which meant the county could have a great revenue source, but instead you went with Kemper, and it sounded like you dismissed Integrity based on no experience in New Jersey, and that's interesting because Director Sullivan is talking about no experience. He has no experience for the position he's in, and yet he wants to dismiss Integrity for no experience. I mean, there's other people. Just to go, Sanchez, he has no experience for where he is. Scanlon had no experience for a management position. Marr has no experience for that new department that you created. And Cryan, I already talked about, no law enforcement experience, and yet he's possibly going to be sheriff. So, I mean, you guys really don't care about experience, except when it comes time to decide who to give things to, and then somehow it comes into weighted numbers, and that doesn't make any sense. Integrity looks like the good choice. There is more time for you to consider that. It's a good revenue source for the residents, so we're asking you, go with Integrity. Obviously, they have experience. I mean, whatever there was many golf courses that they manage. They're the right ones to go with. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to comment? Thank you.
Tina Renner, Cranford. Can you clarify, is Kemper responsible for the building repairs at the clubhouse? So if the pipes freeze and break, if something goes wrong there, are they responsible for those costs? If you can please clarify that. There is no freeholder liaison to the jail, as I've mentioned in the past. One of the main things society needs you to do is to run the jails, but that's dirty work, so you don't make any one person responsible for that. Last meeting I was here, I told you about rumors that are going around with the corrections officers. They're all very stressed out and worried about their jobs, about the jail being closed, or possibly being cut back. So I got no response from anyone here. So of course you've added fuel to the fire. So I'm asking you again to give an answer to that, a statement. Surely the county manager can confirm or deny whether those people should be upset. I mean, they're in a very dangerous situation at the jail. They're under stress. It's not good for them. It's not good for the prisoners. It's not good for running a business. So an explanation is deserved. There is a freeholder liaison to the Union County Utilities Authority, which is you, Chairman Hudak, and I'd like to give you a report on what's going on there. I'll give the people at home a little background. The former freeholder Sullivan is now the executive director of the Utilities Authority and the Improvement Authority. And despite his being given a raise for taking on extra responsibilities, he took it upon himself to also write himself authority checks of $2,500 per month, $2,500 a month. Other employees were also given stipends for taking on extra responsibilities, but he was the executive director, and he got the most, $15,000. It was brought to the attention of the Utilities Authority by myself as the Union County Watchdog Association. I look at their check registry, and I questioned what these stipends were. And lo and behold, I didn't get a response that night, but they did lawyer up after that, and according to documents received since then and statements made by them, they had no idea that these stipend payments were being made. So the Union County Watchdog Association brought this to their attention, and to their credit, they did stop the stipends and they did investigate. It cost about upwards of $80,000 of tax dollars to hire attorneys to investigate, which was pretty much laid out for them. I pretty much handed them the entire thing. I don't know why they had to go to such extremes, or I don't know why they just didn't ask the Union County Prosecutor's Office to investigate. They would have done it for free. But instead, they went ahead and spent about $80,000 on outside counsel to deal with that, including lawyering up Sullivan in order for him to it's incredible. I have so many friends that work in corporate, and I tell them these stories, and they're you're kidding me. You're making this up. Like, I can't imagine working for ABC Company. I'm writing myself company checks, and they come and question me, and they say, "Oh, but we're gonna pay for your lawyer so you can answer our questions. We're gonna do that for you." And then, as it wound up, it was paid back. The lawyers did find that there was something going on that was wrong there. And they ordered Sullivan and the controller to pay back. The other employees didn't have to pay it back. Unfortunately, they didn't pay it back until this week. And the timing of it was another citizen had placed an Oprah request for proof that the monies were paid back. And the answer to his Oprah request came back with 2 checks, one signed by Sullivan for $15,000, and it was dated after the Oprah request. So it certainly looks like it took a citizen to question the payments in order for the payments to be made. So I don't think you're really closely paying attention to the workings of the Utilities Authority. I mean, their own board wasn't paying attention. So that's the update here. Those monies were paid back. So Sullivan did write a check for $15,000 to pay back those stipends. You, to date, haven't asked the prosecutor's office to investigate. It's certainly within your realm to do that. If you were concerned, you would have done that. Certainly, if they weren't politically connected, you would have done that by now, I'm sure. You also haven't made any moves to recoup the monies from Neil Palmieri, who pled guilty last year to goods that went unreceived. You know, last meeting, you allowed someone to talk over because they were speaking nicely. You need to watch things like that. You could certainly allow me to finish the sentence without being rude.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of Union County and Hudson County have had a conversation relative to the issue, and as usual, we don't comment on those types of negotiations or conversations.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Come on up, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, County Manager, members of the Freehold. My name is James Ross. This is Dave Ottman. I'm the Vice President of PBA Local 199. Mr. Ottman here is one of our elected officials. We're here on behalf of State Delegate Burkett and President Kretsch, who couldn't make it at this meeting. As everyone's aware, PBA Local 199 is a collective bargaining agent for all members of our union. We would like to state for the record that at no time has anyone been given permission to speak for us, nor will they be given permission to speak for us, with the exception of our president, our delegate, or our attorneys. With that being said, Mr. Chair, we have a letter that was sent out from our attorney directed to Mrs. Hatfield. I'm under the assumption that it was a copy was given to the county clerk. With your permission, we would like to read it to you for the record on behalf of our leadership and all our members.
Absolutely.
I have my glasses.
On September 11, 2014, Tina Renna, President of the Union County Watchdog Association, addressed the freeholders regarding the closing of the Union County Jail. See www.countywatchers.com. Despite her claim that she was not a representative for employees at the jail, one could infer that she was speaking on behalf of correctional officers based on her comments about the impact that the closing of the jail would have on correctional officers. This letter is to emphasize that Ms. Renna does not represent in any way PBA Local 199 and its members on this issue. PBA Local 199 continues to work to try to resolve this matter with the county in a professional manner. However, do not let the county's negotiations posture be taken as a sign of weakness. If an amicable solution cannot be reached between the PBA and the county, the PBA will take all necessary and legal steps to protect the rights of all members. Thank you.
Thank you, understood. Would you kindly give a copy of that letter to the freeholder clerk so he can enter it into the minutes?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing no one else, I will close that portion of the meeting, and we will go to freeholder comments and reports. We'll start with Freeholder Kowalski.
Thank you, Chairman. To add regarding the resolution about resurfacing, since I've had a lot of complaints about the condition of the roads, so let me just mention that some of the roads that will be resurfaced are South Avenue going through Westfield, Garwood, and Cranford, Plainfield Avenue and Plainfield, West Hazelwood and Rawway, 3rd Avenue and Roselle, Locust Street and Roselle Park, Mizell Avenue in Springfield, and East Broad Street in Westfield. And then the second phase will include Diamond Hill Road in Berkeley Heights, Mountain Avenue, in Cranford, Springfield Avenue, in Plainfield Front Street, and in Summit Ashland Road. So these roads all will be getting resurfacing. A couple of additions also to, comments regarding the agenda. Freeholders Estrada and Wright and I attended a ceremony honoring our Rutgers Co-op extension and the Master Gardeners earlier this week, and we have a reso about the 100th anniversary of the Smith-Lever Act, which established the cooperative extension to, back in, 100 years ago, obviously, to set up educational programs for youth and adults and community programs. And I think we could say that certainly in Union County, the Rutgers Co-op has done an outstanding job, and we really appreciate the efforts of the co-op and its staff and the Master Gardeners and the 4-H, the many volunteers who give freely of their time and energy as far as gardening projects and many other projects throughout the county. And one woman set a record for the number of service hours she has put in. Ms. Carol Hanneman has logged 10,000 hours of community service, which merited her a special award. So I just wanted to mention her name. We have a number of recycling events coming up. We're winding down for the year, but there's still time to participate. We have 2 secure shredding events for personal papers, one on September 27th in Westfield and one on November 1st in Cranford. And our last household hazardous waste event of the year takes place on October 18th in New Providence. And our last electronics recycling event takes place on October 25th, and that's also in New Providence. In addition, we have the metal recycling continues, and that's generally on the first Thursday and the third Saturday of every month. So you can get more details on these at our website, ucnj.org/recycle. And I'd just like to add regarding a comment that keeps getting repeated about lack of experience, so-called, of some of our county officers and staff. Everybody working for Union County that I've had contact with is doing their job. They're working hard and they're serving the people of this county, and I really take offense at aspersions cast against particularly Sheriff Cryan and Colleen Marr, who Colleen has, before coming onto the county, she has done outstanding work in Fanwood and with the Raritan Valley Rail Coalition, and bringing the one-seat ride and improving service to this rail line. So just wanted to add that comment, and that's it for me, Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder Kowalski. Freeholder Carter.
Thank you, Chairman. Last weekend, Freeholder Kowalski and I joined Public Safety Director Andy Moran and Union County Police Chief Beniska for a visit to the Habitat for Humanity project on West 7th Street in Plainfield, where members of the Union County Police PBA Local 73 have been volunteering. I've been to this site before, and it's been a real pleasure to see that 2 beautiful homes have been completed and construction on several more have begun. In the past 2 years, you know, when this groundbreaking first took place, you saw this open lot. Now you see these wonderful homes have now been erected for families to actually enjoy. There'll be some deserving members of the community who will soon call these houses home. I'd like to recognize the Habitat for Humanity for all important work that they do, especially in Plainfield and here in Union County. Also, I'd like to thank the members of the Union County Police PBA Local 73 for volunteering to help build these homes and for their commitment to the project and the commitment that they have here in the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Carter. Freeholder Estrada?
Chairman, I'll bag my time tonight.
I know you will, Freeholder. Freeholder Mirabella.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last week's meeting, we brought to your attention our annual POW MIA Remembrance ceremony taking place tomorrow morning, September 19th, 11:15, right here in Elizabeth in front of the county courthouse. I'd like to invite you and all members of the board as we honor those absent and reaffirm our county's commitment to ensure a full accounting of our servicemen and women. The public is clearly and certainly invited. In case of rain, the ceremony will move inside to the courthouse rotunda. I'd also like to remind the public that this Sunday in Warnanko Park, we will host Rolling Thunder, New Jersey Chapter 2. That's always a great event and well attended as they make their way to the Vietnam Memorial in Homedale. Members of that group will gather in the park between 8:30 and 11:30 for their annual ride. As you know, Rolling Thunder advocates the full accountability of service members who are missing in action or prisoners of war, and the Freeholder Board is proud to support them in this endeavor. One of my fondest memories of Rolling Thunder is former Freeholder Holmes taking his motorcycle out. I think he took it out once a year for this purpose, to go down and ride with the men and women down to Homedale. And I always think of the former Freeholder when that day comes. Sorry to report that we've had quite a week of losses in our county family. You see on the agenda we're recognizing 4 individuals who made significant contributions to our county. Karen Bernier, the wife of Dan Bernier, who always pitched in and helped out. Former Councilman James Edelden from the Borough of Roselle, and 2 former county employees, Paul Kranke and Rusty Harris, just recently. And you know, I'm sure our condolences all go out to the families. It's been a rough week. And on a lighter note for me, and perhaps not for Freeholder Carter, I want to just report the score of the Scotch Plainfield football game that occurred last Saturday, where Scotch Plains defeated Plainfield 14-0 in the rain. So Freeholder, I'm sorry to break that news to you. I'm sure you were.
The rain was on their side.
So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll conclude my comment.
Noted for the official record, Freeholder.
Thank you.
Freeholder Granados.
This Saturday, September 20th, is National Seat Check Day. On the day, we join with other public safety agencies across the country to help parents and caregivers ensure that their child's safety seat is installed properly. Safety seats make a life and death difference, but they can't protect your child if they aren't installed properly. There are many new models on the market, so even an experienced parent may need assistance. To get a free inspection for your child's seat this Saturday, come to the AAA Care Center at 135 Route 22 East in Springfield between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. If you can't make it for that seat check, you can stop by during our regular free safety seat inspection hours at the Car Care Center every week on Wednesday and Thursday mornings. For more information, please feel free to visit ucnj.org or call 908-789-6830. That's it, Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder Granados. Freeholder Wright.
Yes, thank you. I had the pleasure of attending the annual health fair last weekend at the Rawway Senior Center. This event represents a long and fruitful partnership between the Union County Minority Task Force, the Union County Division on Aging, and the City of Rawway. The aim is to help seniors connect with up-to-date guidance on the important health issues of today. It provides an opportunity to sit down with a knowledgeable healthcare professional face-to-face in a familiar and welcoming environment. As always, we had a great turnout from the healthcare community for the health fair, and I'd like to thank them for their support.
Thank you, Freeholder Wright. County Council, any comments or questions? Or
No comments,
statements?
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just two comments. One, I just want to echo the comments of Freeholder Mirabelli. It's been a very difficult week for the county family. And in particular, just like to mention Rusty Harris, who was a county employee for many years. He was a terrific and conscientious employee, real family man, very active in his church and his community, and one heck of a softball player. We're going to miss him very much. Also, I'm not sure if any of the other freeholders are going to mention it, so I apologize if they do, but on Sunday at Rawway at the Union County Performing Arts Center, we had one of our sensory-friendly concerts, Curious George. Highly recommend it to anyone else, children, but particularly those with children with disabilities. It's something that's fun, and it's a very safe environment, and I highly recommend it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Vice Chairman.
No comments today, Chairman.
Okay, stole a little of my thunder, actually. That's all,
Sorry.
but that's quite all right.
Sorry, Chairman.
It's a great program, and it.
Wasn't sure.
No, it's a great program. It deserves to be
Say
mentioned
it twice.
twice.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Just a couple things. First tee. I would like to mention that the success of the Raritan Valley First Tee golf program that we sponsor at Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth. We added the First Tee program in an attempt to develop young talent in our area and make the game more accessible to us all. It is paying off. We've gotten excellent participation, and we have just received news that one of our young golfers, Isabel Gonzalez, she's from Bloomfield, and that's okay. We're bringing kids from all around the region into the golf course. Has been selected to play in the professional golf event, the Nature Valley First Tee Tournament in Pebble Beach, California. We congratulate her on this accomplishment, and we're proud of our affiliation with the First Tee, and we will continue to offer and expand this program at Galloping Hill. It really is a great program. Just to mention, we do have some fall programs that are really going to be kicking in as summer comes to an end, and there's a lot of things to do in Union County. Our regular slate of hay rides and campfire starts up on September 26th and continues until October 17th, followed by the haunted hay rides at the Deserted Village on October 24th, 25th, and 26th. We'll be holding our annual Harvest Festival later this month, and I hope that you will join us for 4 Centuries in a Weekend history tour taking place all over Union County in October. The weather may not always cooperate, and that's why we're happy to have indoor activities. As the county manager mentioned, we'll be having a special sensory-friendly performance of the musical Curious George, which my daughter is going to love because she's a huge Curious George fan, at the Union County Performing Arts Center this Sunday. And I've been to many of those performances. I know the county manager usually attends, and as well as other freeholders. They're very well attended. Many parents of children with special needs attend, as well as parents with, younger kids like myself who don't really have the attention or focus to sit through a long presentation. They're a great presentation, and I hope that the residents will consider attending. This Tuesday, we'll be offering a free midday concert at the Performing Arts Center as we celebrate the restoration of the historic Wurlitzer pipe organ. And you can check out information on these activities and many others at the Union County website by visiting ucnj.org/parks and events, /parks events. That's ucnj.org/parks events. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank goodness. Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabella, seconded by Freeholder Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Freeholder Bergen. Freeholder Carter.
Present.
Freeholder Estrada.
Present.
Freeholder Granados.
Present.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Here.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Present.
Freeholder Wright.
Present.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Here.
Chairman Hudak.
Here.
Chairman, you have 8 freeholders present.
Thank you. Jim, please lead us in the prayer and the salute to the flag.
Let's pray.
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and the lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will, and to grant the light of his spirit on all for justice and peace. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jim, please read the statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Chair wishes to announce that pursuant to requirements of New Jersey statutes annotated, Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 10 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union has been given by mailing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014, along with periodic changes necessitated by circumstances, to the newspapers circulating within the County of Union who are designated to receive such notice, and by posting the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014 in the Administration Building, and further by filing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014 with the Office of the County Clerk.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. First, we have a couple of presentations. I would ask that Freeholder Wright, who is our NJAC delegate, to come up. Freeholder Kowalski and Mirabella and I will join her for a scholarship presentation. And I'd also like to invite up Pete Capides, who's the superintendent of our vocational school.
We're very pleased to have one of our candidates for this special occasion coming from Union County. Another one coming from Union County. Is it Tilia? Tilia Anderson of Hillside, New Jersey, is a graduate of Union County Vocational Technical School, and she's presently attending Montclair State University. So we are very pleased that NJAC, the New Jersey Association of Counties, and the Investors Bank Foundation has provided the scholarship for you because of your dedication to academic excellence and distinguished scholastic achievement. And with that comes a check. And a check, and we are so happy that you are receiving this, and we're so proud of you in terms of freeholders for the county.
So where are you going to school?
Montclair State University.
Excellent. So we wish you the best, and we know you'll do us proud. So let's take a few pictures. And the other one. So Vice Chairman Jala, would you come up for our next presentation? Freeholder Wright, would you just stay, would you remain up here as well? And Freeholder Estrada, if you would be kind enough to join us. For our Senior of the Year. Yeah. Oh. If you wanted to do the honors. I would like to ask Sally Strauss, come on up. Freeholder?
We're very pleased to have our presentation for you today. We know that you are the Senior of the Year for Union Township, but we want to tell you how proud we are of that. And we realize that you're always at our activities and you're supporting us. And so here tonight, we want to present you with a resolution.
And this resolution says the Union County Board of Chosen Freeholders would like to congratulate Sally Strauss, the Union Township, New Jersey, on being selected the 2014 Union Township Senior Citizen of the Year. Whereas Sally is a lifelong resident of Union Township, and after a very extensive corporate executive career in both Union and New York City, Sally chose to retire at a relatively young age and focus on community activism and volunteerism. And whereas Sally has been active in a myriad of activities, including being the Vice President of the Union Public Library Board of Trustees and the liaison to Les Malamet. I'm terrible, sorry. Art Gallery. She's an active supporter of Trinitas Regional Medical Center and the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, and she's also been a consistent supporter of the local food pantry collections at the Union Senior Center and Union Town Hall. And whereas Sally was a former mayor's aide and currently serves as an officer as part of the Union County Democratic Club and a committee woman of the Union County Democratic Committee. She is actively involved in the 200th anniversary of Union and the Synagogue and Jewish Women International. And whereas Sally is actively involved with her neighbors at the Grace Lutheran Church, supports the Veterans Alliance and activities at the Knights of Columbus, and whereas Sally is not only a great human being, but a second-generation honoree at the Union Township Center. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union wish to congratulate Sally on being selected the Union Senior Citizen of the Year for 2014. Congratulations.
Thank you, Freeholders Board. I am pleased and honored to be here this evening, and I think it's a great privilege to receive this honor. And I am very supportive of our freeholders. They are a wonderful, wonderful group, and I thank all of you so very much.
Thank you very much, Sally. Why don't we take a quick picture? And now we have another presentation to the board, and a presentation will be made by the representatives of the Union County Improvement Authority and the Union County Evaluation Team relevant to the evaluation report of the Union County Golf Management Operations RFP. All right, gentlemen, have at it.
Mr. Chairman?
I think it's off.
Chairman?
Yes.
If I can just make a point that there are extra copies of the presentation in the back for the members of the public.
Okay, so any member of the public wanting to
Never done this
take a hard copy of the presentation, they are available in the back of the room.
Okay.
Proceed, Dan.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Freeholders, nice to be here tonight. We are here to report back to the board on the RFP process that the board engaged the Improvement Authority back earlier this year to field proposals for golf management for our 2 golf courses as well as our banquet facilities at Galloping Hill. As I'm sure you're aware, the county had entered into a management contract with Kemper 5 years ago. That contract is now in the process of expiring, will expire, I believe it's November 1st. So the county, if you look on the second page, just kind of gives you the dates and the overall things that we went through over the past 3 months or so in order to be here at this particular point. And please, anytime there are questions, feel free to jump in. On the third slide are the members of the team. Right to my far left is Dennis Enright, who's from NW Financial. You know this fellow here, Armando Sanchez, who handles golf for the county. To my right is Ryan Skirbo from Dakotas. We have Rose Comas, who I said I wouldn't identify, but Rose back there was part of the team, as well as Mike Yeska. And this was the evaluation team that we put in place to look at the proposals that we got. Again, on slide number 4 is really objectives of what we're looking to do. And as it says here, the county wanted to secure the services of a highly competent golf operator for the next 5 years to manage Galloping Hill and Ashbrook with a revenue sharing concession arrangement for the pro shop. We want to talk about the RFP itself had 2 distinct options, which we'll talk about and explain, is option 1 and option 2. But that's covered in the objectives. Again, we want to make sure that golf was affordable for county residents, and we're also looking to increase revenues through additional marketing. On slide number 5, these are the 2 options that we asked the proposers to consider, and they had to respond to both of these options. Option 1 is pretty much what we're doing now. That's the management of the food and beverage operations remain a direct county responsibility. Again, that's what we're doing right now, undertaken under their management contract. The county would retain full responsibility for marketing, supplies, staffing, and success of the catering and restaurant operations, and that would be paid through a management fee. The difference in option 2, we would transfer the operations of food and beverage to the manager, meaning the respondent, under a concession arrangement where the company would pay an annual percentage of gross revenues for the rights to run the operation. And in this option, the county is relieved of the ongoing responsibilities and risk for the catering and restaurant operations. And as it says, both options, county would receive a percentage of the gross revenues, concession fee for pro shop operations, and would also pay the manager the annual management fee. On slide number 6, these are the 3 respondents. Of course, the incumbent, Kemper Sports Management, Billy Casper Golf, and Integrity Golf. Under slide 7, these are just, some of the, how they've done business, the number of years they've done business, the number of courses they've managed, throughout the United States and also New Jersey. And that'll be an important point when we get a little further. On slide 8, these are their proposals, as you can see, for option 1. I don't want to read everything off for you. You can see the presentation. Basically, Casper was the highest, Kemper was in the middle, and Integrity was the lowest. The other the other items are the percentages that would be paid for the pro shop, the concession fee back to the county. F&B concession revenue to the county, that's not applicable under option 1. And the incentive management fee, if you see the footnote there, those are the percentages that the respondents put in to get that incentive fee, if applicable. So that was option 1. Option 2, as you can see, the management fee, again, Casper was the highest. And realize that's the fee for the entire 5 years. Okay, so that's when you break that down by month, that comes out to the entire fee over the 60-month period of the contract. Again, Casper was the highest. Kemper came in second lowest, and Integrity the lowest. Again, the percentages you see here are the concession fees of the dollars that would be returned back to the county if the county decided to go with that particular option. Any questions so far? Now, on number 10, that is the actual scoring chart that the committee put together, and that how the respondents were scored on each of these categories. Again, I don't think it's necessary to go into every one of them, but you can see from the scores at the end of the day, on both option 1 and option 2, it was Kemper that came out with the highest score, followed by Billy Casper, and then by Integrity. And I think they were all fairly close. I think we all agreed that they were competent companies. I think the one difference between the 3 companies was Integrity. Integrity was the smallest of the companies, and Integrity had no prior experience here in New Jersey. They manage no-go. They're basically a Florida company, and we felt that was a critical point in terms of evaluating the 3 companies. They have no experience here in New Jersey. They made it clear on their pricing that they were trying to get into the New Jersey market, so that is why their number was lower than the other 2. And they were clear in saying that they would lose money, but they were looking to get into New Jersey market, and we felt that was pretty much a detriment as to why we didn't want to be the guinea pig, and we were not confident so much with a company that had not done business in New Jersey. It's a different market than it is in Florida. And the scores reflect that for Integrity. So if we go to slide 11, when all is said and done, the evaluation team is recommending that we enter into a contract with Kemper under option 2. And again, you see the scores of the various companies. I don't need to read them off, but we felt, and it was clear that the difference now is between option 1 and option 2. And as I said before, option 1 is pretty much business as usual. This is the way we're doing business now. The difference between the 2 is in option 2 is the management of the food and beverage concession. And under option 2, the risk to the county is removed. All the risk on that side of the business is handled by the successful respondent. And we agreed as a committee that we would recommend that option to the freeholders. So that was pretty much it.
Anyone else, anything to add on that?
Anything, Armand?
Freeholders, questions for the panel? Freeholder Carter?
I know that I was not on the board, I believe, yet when this all really came into inception and where this has gone to. Approvals and all have been done. But I know the theory was that we build the clubhouse and all. But can you kind of explain to me how we're morphing into the fact that, you know what, getting out of that type of business and really the bottom line, what it ends up to our bottom line totally?
When we first started the project back in 2009, we initially had realized the concept was to build a clubhouse, but also to concession the food and beverage operation from the start. Since we were in the tail end of the contract with only 2 years remaining, back in 2013 when the contract when the clubhouse opened, instead of going out for another RFP and possibly having 2 vendors managing our golf operations, we decided to just stay with the operations as is, let Kemper finish out the contract under the way it was working, and we would be basically the operator of the food and beverage with Kemper managing it. It was always in the mind that we were gonna, in the next contract, we were gonna enter into a concessionary agreement. We just did not want to enter into with two different companies in our operation, because we always wanted the synergy between golf operations as well as food and beverage. We didn't want to have 2 different people in the building and running the operation for us with 2 different agendas. We wanted one agenda, which was to service the county.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And I just want to note, under any scenario here, that the county always retains the right on the golf fees. You are the body that sets the fees for golf, as you do now, and you do not give up that right under this contract or
But
renewal
under
of this contract.
option 2, in terms of the pricing for meals and things like that, that would be the purview of
Correct.
private sector
Correct.
partner.
Right.
Freeholder?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the bids that were received are locked. Is there any negotiation period now with these firms, or is that like what we got from a percentage standpoint is what we have to move forward with and decide on?
Well, there is the actual negotiation of the contract itself. So I can't speak to that from a legal point, whether there's, maneuverability in it. I don't know. Ryan?
Yeah, the contract will be developed as the executive director indicated. However, as far as the numbers go in the proposal, those are fairly set. There really isn't a negotiation of the fee or the proposal price per se. Contract terms, in terms of what the actual language is, that will be subject to revision as we move forward. But
And Dan, what's the real benefit to option 2 versus option 1? I think Freeholder Carter got at it a little bit, but what, to this county, what's the benefit? Taking the risk out is part of it, probably, right? But what is it from our perspective?
I think there's a couple of things, Freeholder. As you said, I think the big thing is this is kind of the scenario that we talked about originally going back, 3 or 4 years. And obviously, given the short time frame when the clubhouse was open, we were unable to do that. We feel, that the county still gets control in terms of the golf fees, which is important to the residents of the county, but that you'll also allow the operator to respond to market changes in terms of food and beverage prices that, unfortunately, they're unable to do today. I know you vote on it, so you understand it. You have to put in the price of everything that they do there in an ordinance, and that's the only way things get changed. It really doesn't allow them any flexibility to do any other events, special events, a lot of things, and respond to actually market the facility to the rest of the county and to the state as a whole. Certainly the incentive, as always, the better that they do, there's more dollars that come back to the county. And you as we said, you minimize the risk as well. So I think it's a well-run facility. They have a lot of ideas they've talked about to do, better in terms of events, catering, and what have you. So we thought that was a good balance, the idea that, give them the flexibility to do things, that are necessary, and that the county could benefit from that as well.
Because right now, if they wanted to change the price of a hamburger, they'd have to have an ordinance to do that.
Right, and you know how, you have to have the hamburger ordinance on. And we joke about it, but that's the truth. And it certainly makes, for them to do business, to respond to things, or even to put on a sale. You want to, have various things that are on for sale or a discount or whatever. That makes it exceedingly difficult for anybody to do business.
And just so I'm clear, so it's the Red Knot and the catering facility all combined, the whole food and beverage.
Yes, yeah, and the learning center, everything there. Yeah.
How will this affect the staffing that we presently have in terms of that piece?
Yeah, the staffing will not be affected at all.
But
They currently, under the current management contract, there are no, are there any minimums or in terms of staffing? Okay, so just, status quo in every way. Just a follow-up on, where some of the revenue is generated obviously is through golf outings. And I would see how the vendor would have some flexibility in terms of offering discounts on, perhaps where they don't have a booking. But again, there's no association with the greens fees, correct?
Correct.
Freeholder Estrada?
Thank you. Let me ask you now, understanding the concept that you're speaking about in terms of the private running of the sessions, is there any allocations in terms of golf course improvements at all in this contract that will be shared by anyone, or still going to be the responsibility of the county for improvements to the golf courses?
The county.
The county will handle all the improvements to the golf
Correct.
courses because we will be receiving all of the revenue. It's still the county that will be receiving all revenue that's produced out on the golf. So it's still our assets, still our, basically, we're the ones that own the golf course, so we will continue to improve it for and actually prices as well.
No, the county is responsible for all capital improvements, Freeholder.
But maintenance is Kemper's?
They maintain it, yes, correct.
Freeholder Estrada, anything else? Freeholder Carter?
This contract is for a 5-year contract. Is there anything in it that gives automatic renewal past 5 years, or would we have to go out for an additional RFP prior to?
You're only permitted to contract for 5 years. So 5 years from now, we'll be back here doing this all over again.
Freeholders, anything else? Freeholder Kowalski? Freeholder Granados? County Manager, anything to add?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the request of the committee, I met with the group yesterday and reviewed the presentation and the accompanying paperwork and information, and I concur with the recommendation of the committee to utilize Kemper and option 2. I think that's in the best interest of Union County.
Excellent. So let's discuss it and, perhaps get it on the agenda to discuss in the agenda setting meeting on October 2nd.
Very good, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlemen, thank you. Okay. So let's move into the agenda setting meeting. First order of business will be the approval of communications, which we will adopt later tonight during the regular meeting. Then we have the approval of minutes. And then we will move into department reports and individual resolutions. And first, we have the Office of the Union County Prosecutor. And I think I see the first assistant prosecutor sitting in the back. There he is, Tim Eisenhower. No problem.
Good evening. The prosecutor's office has one resolution on for consideration. I'll be happy to take any questions you may have.
Freeholders, any questions for the prosecutor's office? Freeholder Estrada.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The fund of $250,000, what exactly does that include? Is that strictly investigation? It's not the task force that we used to have before, the fraud insurance?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that grant is funded exclusively by the Office of Insurance Fraud Prosecutor in Trenton. That is only used for insurance fraud investigations. That money goes exclusively to the salaries of the 3 employees. There's an assistant prosecutor assigned to the unit, a sergeant assigned to the unit, and 1 detective assigned to the unit. It covers salaries as well as fringes. It's pretty much remained the same, I believe, for probably 10 years. Pursuant to the grant, there's no match required pursuant to the grant. I think they have to dedicate 80% of their time to insurance fraud prosecutions. They're free to spend the 20% on other investigations, which are primarily financial crimes, just because, given the nature of the insurance fraud, that's really where their skill set lies.
Thank you.
Realtors, any other questions for the prosecutor's office? None. Thank you, sir. The Department of Corrections, Brian Reardon.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Department of Correction has one resolution for your consideration this evening. It's simply the extension of our contract with Global Telelink to provide inmate services, telephone services in the correctional institution.
Realtors, any questions? Realtor Strada.
Yes, Director, the extension is because we're going out for another bid, or?
No, sir. The extension is due to the fact that we're still evaluating the 4 successful bidders that we have that submitted bids for that.
Oh, so we had gone out
service.
already.
Yes, we did.
Chairman,
Realtor?
are they one of the 4?
Yes, they are.
And that's a bid, correct?
I'm sorry?
Competitive bid?
Yes, it is.
Why is it taking so long to evaluate?
It's a very involved bid process with numerous rates, surcharges, and if you'll recall, we actually put the bid out and we structured it to provide a bundle of services in addition to the inmate telephone systems. We entertained a conglomerate bid of providers who want to leverage our telephone commissions towards providing us with technologies in addition to the telephone system, specifically a jail management system, an automated answering system for public inquiries, and a video visitation system. So it's a very involved process. It's actually 4 bids built into one bid. Each successful reply encompasses a number of electronic services. It's not just telephone services, so it's very intricate, it's very involved, and we're trying to do our due diligence in going through it and be responsible to the process.
Thank you.
Realtors, any other questions for the Director? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
The Department of Economic Development, Deputy County Manager Riss.
Good evening, Chairman, freeholders. The Department of Economic Development has 9 resolutions for your consideration. We'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have a question to start off, and then I think we have a couple big ticket items that should get a brief explanation if anyone needs one. But number 9 was, I know that resolution was at our previous agenda for incubator.
That's correct.
Can you I know there was some issues with the language when it was presented originally to the board, and I think those have been resolved. Can you just give a brief explanation of this resolution and what it does?
Absolutely. What the resolution does is 2 things. One, it extends a contract. The extension of the contract is needed to provide 7 more clients, which are 7 more residents training. In total would be 20 residents that will be trained and possibly employed. The second thing it does is it also changes an account number to be able to utilize program year 2014 funds rather than the program year 2013 funds, as originally stated in the contract.
And those funds for the residents, is there an incentive built in?
Yes, actually,
for those individuals who are being trained to be hired?
That's correct. There's a 20% incentive for placement of the 20 residents that are trained.
All right, and then do you want to just give a very, it's not going to be brief, but a explanation of 1 and 2 involving both Meta and Mast, and a quick quick overview, and then I'll turn it over to the board for questions.
Sure. What I'd like to do, Chairman, if I'm allowed to ask for the first one, to ask Netta to come up and give a brief explanation, and then Mass for number 2.
Excellent, thank you.
Through you, Chairman.
Good evening there.
The change order that you have before you is for 2 components. It's the completion of Phase B of the fire code violations, and it's for the second phase to address all of the fire code and DCA violations for the tower, which presently is a single means of egress high-rise, which has to be modified with the secondary egress stair to legalize the structure.
And so this is the continuation of the courthouse renovation project, correct?
Yes, it is.
All right, and this is, we are, my understanding, I know this process is beyond years ago. Just to reiterate, this process began because of fines levied to us by the state, and if we do not go forth with this project, we're getting shut down.
Yes. This originally started, the original fines were assessed back in 2000. DCA then came back in 2005 and essentially told the county you had to shut down the courthouse tower and the courthouse due to fire code violations and also as being an unsafe structure. This goes back to 2006 where analysis was done on the building and the modifications to bring the building up to code to keep it occupied were broken down into 3 components. One of the components has already been completed. The second component would be the rotunda, and the third component would be the secondary means of egress stair inside the tower. Originally, this was designed as an exterior stairway, and due to cost implications, it was decided to move the stairway inside the building.
Which then spurred the
Which
family
then,
courthouse project.
which then spurred the family courthouse to replace the 6 courtrooms that would be destroyed by moving the stair inside the tower. It also, for the physical construction of the interior stairwell, by constructing the new courthouse, it's going to allow us to vacate the tower and be able to complete the work in a more timely manner. Hopefully during first shift of work, there may be some second shift based on the lower courtrooms because we are going from the top of the building right down through the rear entrance lobby at the rear of the court building.
Vice Chairman?
Was this amount, or an amount close to this, anticipated in the original resolution
In the original resolution,
from 2009 or 2010, referring to both resolutions on the agenda?
was it anticipated in, I'm not quite sure I understand the full brevity of the question.
You referred to this as a change order.
Yes.
When you say change order,
What's
that,
actually-
to me, that means that you're doing work that you had not
Vice Chairman?
anticipated.
Vice Chairman, sorry to interrupt you, but just for a point of clarification, this is not a change order?
It's an amendment to the contract for additional services rendered in a new phase of this project, as I understand.
That's what I was getting at.
Yes. Yes. So what this essentially,
So as a result, you anticipated that there would be these types of improvements needed to the property at this point in time?
well, yes, we knew that these repairs had to be made to the building based on the DCA violations. The original intent of the project, based on the assignment judge at the time, Judge Barasonic, was to not interrupt the present building as it currently sat. He wanted to keep the building functioning as it always has. Hence, the stair was originally designed on the exterior of the building. When the project was priced out, it became cost prohibitive to the county to put the stair on the outside of the building. The freeholders then voted to put that portion of the project aside and then voted to construct the new family courthouse. Once the family courthouse is completed, it will allow us to vacate the tower and then redesign the project to be inside the building and address all of the fire code violations that DCA has presented to the county. So, the county is presently working right now from the original date of the violations back in 2000. You're going on approximately 15 years, which all of the fire code violations have not been addressed. So it's something that needs to be done rapidly, and the timing of this is once the court building is completed, and then we can vacate the tower to come in and do the construction.
Freeholders, any other questions for Mr. Netherweiser? Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Bill, if you want to jump in.
I'll
number
ask
two
Mass
as
to
well.
come in for number 2, please.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Just an overview? Okay.
Yeah, just a quick explanation of the resolution.
So our request for an amendment to our contract is due to a change in scope and time of service. We're a people company, so we oversee pre-construction and construction, and the scope of service has increased, and so has the duration.
Freeholders, any questions? Very much. Any other questions for the Deputy County Manager relevant to the resolutions on the economic development agenda? Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Regarding number 8 for the resurfacing, do we know how many municipalities this is going to affect?
Yes. Actually, let me give you a little bit more information on it. For this year, including Phase 1 and Phase 2, we will have repaved 13.9 miles. It will affect roughly 9 municipalities. And it also, compared to last year, we are repaving more than we did last year, and we're also spending more than we did last year on road repavings.
And this is, how much of it is in relation to problems regarding the storm? I guess we can't get any Sandy recovery money for this.
No, this is not Sandy recovery money, if I'm correct, checking with the engineering department.
County Manager?
If I may interject, today we recently received information from the Department of Housing and Urban Development about a new grant that the federal government is offering relative to Sandy funding. We're going to look into it and see if there's something we may be able to apply. So there's a possibility.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the Kowalski?
No.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this 13.9 miles for this resurfacing program, how does that compare to other years? Is it roughly the same amount of miles that we're trying to recover and resurface?
It's an increase of almost 2 miles from the previous year, and it is one of the highest years we've had. Usually we try to do around 12 or so.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Freeholders, any other questions? Director, can you give a quick explanation regarding the improvements at Ashbrook?
Ashbrook, sure. If I may, I'd like to ask Armando Sanchez to come up to explain.
Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the contract that's being voted on for Reese Jones is for the design of our bunkers, which we're going to go ahead and put drainage in our bunkers because our bunkers at Ashbrook do not have any drainage. So we're also going to look at drainage on the golf course on 4 holes, which when we have heavy rains of an inch or 2 at one time, basically shuts down the golf course. So we're going to look at designing a drainage system on those 4 holes so that we can continue to stay open during and right after the rainstorms, as well as there's several holes out on the golf course that we're going to look at irrigation as well to improve our irrigation system at Ashbrook. And that's all encompassed into the design, permitting as well with DEP to allow us to do the irrigation and drainage.
When would we look to do these actual improvements? Do we have any idea what the timeline is?
It's probably going to happen next fall because we definitely have to go to DEP with it to get the permitting, to get the drainage and the irrigation done. So probably in the next fall, we'll be doing that.
Freeholders, any other questions on this or any other economic development resolutions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Yep.
Okay, Department of Finance, I know Director Taylor is not here.
Julie Oregano.
Yep, Julia Regalado, who is the Director of the Division of the Treasurer, is here to respond to any questions you may have. Freeholders? These are all, with the exception of number 1, these are all modifications of the budget.
Yes.
And number 1, regarding retirement planning services, this is for the, this is not for the, this is not, there's no county dollars involved in this contract.
No,
This is
it's
for the employee
a-
contribution program?
Yes, it's a voluntary employee program, so the employee pays 0.125 basis points for their total assets in the plan.
Builders, any questions? Julie, thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you.
The Director of Human Services, Frank Guzzo.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the Department of Human Services has 6 resolutions on for your consideration, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Builders, questions for Director Guzzo? Go Freeholder Granados first, and then we'll do the question.
In reference to number 4, can you further explain Family Promise Union County, and also how many families usually take advantage, well, not advantage, but participate in the program?
This program is run out of social services, and it's for people that need shelter during the course of an evening or longer. They're approved by DCA in terms of use, and it varies in terms of how many families on a given evening spend there. I don't have data. This is a new program, so it's the first time we're using it, so we don't have any data from previous years and to know how many families will avail themselves of it going forward.
So it'll be a new benefit to benefit families who are, going through tough economic times, which is great.
And the key is it's geared towards families as opposed to single individuals.
That's great. Thank you, Chairman.
For both
Vice Chairman.
number 4 and number 6, where is the funding for those programs coming?
Number 4, 95% of the dollars for housing comes from the state of New Jersey, with 5% coming out of county budget. And number 6, out of that amount, I think it's $833,000. $130,000 of that comes out of the State Facilities Education Act, which is a decrease in funding from the previous year. And so that's why you'll see the county portion up because of the decrease in funding and an increase in the salaries on a contractual basis for the teachers.
Thank you.
Director, number 2, the grant for $916,000. Is that the Alliance funding for this year?
That's money that goes into that along with, actually, no, this is different money. This goes specifically for treatment and
Okay.
residential type services within the county. That money is $122,000 of that comes from the county to go towards the 916 that you see.
Right.
Which 106 is a pure cash match, and the other 15,000 is an in-kind service. So that's how it's broken out.
I'm sorry, what was that? The
It's an
other-
in-kind service, the 15,000.
Oh, okay.
So that's how you get to the 122 cash on the county side.
Okay, but the balance of the funds are coming from the
The
state.
state.
What sort of services are provided by this?
It provides residential stay for people that have drug and alcohol dependency, treatment, inpatient, both outpatient, education, just an array of services contracted out to various community agencies in the county to provide those services for people that need them.
And how does that $916,000 stack up to previous year's funding?
It's consistent with last year's funding at this point.
Flat?
Yes.
When was the last time we saw an increase?
Good question. I'm not even going to guess at it. I'll get back to you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The Department of Parks and Recreation, Director Zuber.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Freeholders. Department of Parks and Recreation has 2 items on tonight's agenda, and I'll try to answer any questions you may have.
I'm excited to see number 2. Can you give a brief explanation on that?
The shared service with the City of Rawway is in regard to the existing track and soccer field that sits inside Rawway River Park. We had looked at that field a few years ago and determined that that was one of the fields we wanted to turf. In the middle of last year, the City of Rawway and the Board of Education approached us about getting into a shared service with them. That's thus this resolution. It would mean that we have our existing capital for the project, which would include turf, lights, and a track to just resurface the track. And the City of Rawway would like to have their home fall sports events and other sports events there, such as football, men's or boys and girls soccer, and certain practices there too. We would have a non-exclusive agreement with them for scheduling the fields, and any of the amenities that need to be added to the project that Rawway is requesting, such as a press box, pavilions for the teams, concession stands, sewer sanitary lines, would be paid for by the City of Rawway.
And other groups would be able to use it when it was not being used for that?
Absolutely,
purpose as
yes.
well.
The scheduling would come through us.
Freeholders, questions for Director Zuber? Freeholder Granados.
Yes, just in reference to number 2 also. Well, first off, it's great to see when local municipalities work together with Board of Education for the benefit of the kids, and see Mayor Samson Steinman here, so I definitely want to commend you on that. But when should this project be completed by?
This is just the first step, Freeholder. When we sign this, then we'll start talking with Rawway, hire the engineer, get started with the, then go for a construction company. If I can point to Rawway, I'm sorry, to Warrenaco Park, that particular job, the physical work started in April. It's going to be done in November. Obviously, the devil is in the details, getting to the point with the design and what everybody wants and needs for this project.
Thank you. Are we, you mentioned Warrenaco. Are we on schedule for, because it was November 15th was the target date, correct?
Yes, Freeholder.
Are we on schedule?
We are dead on schedule.
Excellent. Freeholders, any other comments or questions for Director Zuber? Thank you, Director. The Department of Public Safety, Director Moran.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the Board. Department of Public Safety has 1 resolution on for your consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Freeholders? Vice Chairman?
Is this a new service or new technology that we are seeking to utilize, or have we done this before?
No, this would be a new technology that we're not currently capable of. During our comprehensive review of our policies and procedures associated with our accreditation process, we took a very hard look at the evidence and property management within the county police. And we identified a need to properly record and document and destroy firearms and other weapons that are confiscated within the county. And this will satisfy that need.
So prior to this proposed method of disposal, what was done?
Every few years, we collect firearms and then transport them to a private facility where they would either be crushed or melted down. It wasn't totally within county control.
I imagine there were some funds expended for that. We paid for that, or is that a free service? Or
We shopped around for a free service, but we've only done it every other year. So we would wait until our evidence rooms were full and we had to clear room, and then we would look around for a place to dispose of it.
Do municipalities have a need to dispose of weapons in the same way?
Absolutely. This will be a shared service
Reach out
that
to them to
If I may, Chairman, yes, that's one of the things that we discussed with Director Moran, to provide this as a shared service to the other municipalities if they're interested, yes.
And possibly a revenue source for municipalities outside of Union County.
That's correct.
Vice Chairman, any other questions?
That was it.
Freeholders, anything else for Director Moran? County Council?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Office of the County Council has 2 items on this evening's agenda, and I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Freeholders, questions for County Council? Thank you. So we'll move on to the County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Office of the County Manager has 2 resolutions on you for your consideration, and I'd be happy to answer questions relevant to number 1 and Director Albert with regard to number 2.
Director Albert, since you made your way up to the microphone, I don't want you to waste the trip. Mind explaining the agreement with the Park Maintenance Association?
Well, the Park Maintenance Association, a union of approximately 45 to 50 members, has come to ratify, after negotiations, collective bargaining agreement that would take them through December 2015 with the same terms and conditions, acceptance of the health changes, the agreement on bi-monthly pay, if that were to occur, that we have with the other unions.
Thank you. Freeholders, any questions for Director Albert? Anything else on the County Manager's agenda? Brother Granados?
Reference to number 1. Is this the first time we're entering a type of program like this? And how many groups we plan on benefiting from this type of programming?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, this is the first time that we would be entering into such a program. Over the past couple of years, administrators at UCPAC have been approached by numerous area theater groups who would like to rent our venues for a number of performances. So in addition to assisting in developing these productions, we believe that live theater plays a vital role in the county arts and economic development, and also constitutes an important prosperity generator for counties and municipalities. And this would really boost initiatives that are already underway, some of which we've already discussed in Rawway and throughout the county. So I think it's something that's well worth doing.
Any other questions for the County Manager? Thank you, Freeholders. We have Freeholder sponsored resolutions. Are there any friendly amendments to those resolutions? Freeholders? Anyone? Seeing none. Okay. So with that, Jim, how much time do you need? Okay, so we're going to conclude this meeting. We'll take a quick recess, about 5 minutes. And may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabella. It was seconded by Freeholder Carter. Mr. Clerk, please read the roll call.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Yes.
And Chairman Hudak.
Yes,
Chairman, you have 8 votes in the affirmative.
we are adjourned.